I'm Scott Fishman.
I'm John Dwoskin.
And this is the 7-Minute Salesman.
Welcome, everybody.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Fish. How are you?
Doing great today, man. Feeling good.
Me too. What's the date today? November 10th.
Yes.
And there's not many days left in the month before Thanksgiving or the holidays.
Yeah, and we've talked about that in the past, folks, that the time is now. Winter is coming. We have to get off our asses and be active and go after and be proactive. And one thing I want to tell you, if you've been that guy or gal that's kind of sat back and chilled a little bit, it's okay. It's not too late because it is November 10th. Mm-hmm. But this month we have a gift where Thanksgiving comes really like at the very end of the month.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is the 22nd is kind of where I'm predicting people are going to start kicking their feet up. That's the Monday before Thanksgiving. So what I say is you have 12 calendar days to go off, to go crazy.
Well, the 22nd is the Friday before.
Okay, it's the Friday before. I apologize.
Yeah.
Forgive me, calendars I failed calendars in school.
I don't want to give people that much leeway.
So fine, if you count that Saturday and Sunday, then you have actually 14 calendar days.
Correct. And so I think, Fish, and we've talked about this on other shows too, as far as getting out of your own way, Laguya, and and getting off your ass and getting out of your own way, and being, I think one of the things that that I see a lot with salespeople is they lack that sometimes in an extreme way, but even the slivers of being proactive.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about proactive as far as, there's the proactive of setting your plan and then actually executing on your plan and understanding your metrics. That's one level of proactive. But proactive when communicating with the client and taking true lead as they build the relationship capital with the client.
Yeah, and you and I kind of talked a little bit about this off air, and I love saying that off air. Like we're big time radio guys.
It makes it sound like we have like a major studio.
Welcome to the morning zoo. So one thing I thought of is people saying I'm all set, I'm good, and us kind of taking that as gospel. And I was thinking about NASCAR, and the reason I was thinking about NASCAR is if you think about that as a sport, it's a game of not seconds, it's a game of nanoseconds, right? So if I can shave a second off of a lap, that's the difference between winning and losing a race sometimes.
Absolutely.
A second.
There is a video, Fish, where it shows I think it's 1952 Formula One race. And have you seen it?
The pit stop?
The pit stop, right. And the pit stop goes around and they're changing it and there's 20-some people, give or take, and they're fixing it. And the commentary is, they're changing the wheel, da-da-da. And it takes 67 seconds. And then you fast forward to, I think it is, and it feels like a lifetime. Then you fast forward to, I can't remember the exact year, maybe 2015 Formula One, where the car pulls up and a couple people zoom in, and within 6 seconds, I think the car is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that just supports a lot of your nanosecond and how through the years, and today, I don't even know, it's probably 4 seconds today.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. When you think about that and someone says, I'm all set, they're not all set. If they can, sell 100 widgets to their customers, if they can sell 101 next month, they're not all set.
Right.
If we can help them get to 102, 103, if we can help them shave time off, if we can help them get out of work 10 minutes earlier than they did last month, they're not all set.
Correct. And I think it's now, how do we take, 7-minute community salesperson listening, how do we take that conversation to the next step? What's the bridge to when somebody says, hey, I'm all set? And the trick is continue the conversation. I think that's where a lot of salespeople just kind of back up and they don't they don't take a lead anymore. They just say, okay, well, if you're all set, I'll follow up with you in a couple months. But what the next follow-up question may be, well, if you're all set, and then finding the next angle to talk about.
Right. I like that.
And that comes from just listening to, I know sometimes people say, well, give me a line. Well, I don't know if necessarily I want to give someone a line right now. I just want to raise somebody's level of consciousness that you need to really listen to whatever is in real time with that conversation. And then you need to dig into whatever that was. And then that's your transition line.
Right.
Digging into you had mentioned this, can I help you with X? Because it sounds like you may be all set with X, but how about Y? Let's talk about that.
Right. John, here's one thing I like to do is just kind of turn the tables on them and say, listen, man, I'm sorry. I had no idea that you were all set, that your business is running perfectly, that you're ready to go, and that you could just flip the switch and retire because you don't have to work anymore. I'm not at that level yet. How could you help me with my business?
It's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, and when you do that, you're basically almost like doing a reverse cold call. You're helping them. Right. And on that note, I think one of the things that people forget about is opening up your network. We talked about this on past shows too, opening up your network to people to help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along those same lines, it doesn't even need to be, how could you help me? John, listen, you're in California and you're telling me you're all set, and that's great. If you're on autopilot, I strive to be there. I also have a lot of my other clients that strive to be there. I've got a guy in Wyoming that he's not at that level. Would you mind talking to him? Just maybe, doesn't need to be a full mentorship. Give him about 5-10 minutes of your time. Just, maybe you can help him out a little bit. I'll be there to facilitate.
Yeah. Well, I think that's key too, as far as if in sales, I think we forget sometimes that we are master facilitators and master connectors. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to get us business in that moment. But when you do something good like that for somebody, it comes back and helps you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we're talking about being proactive here, folks. And, a lot of that is finding the angles, getting past that I'm all set thing. But also just even before you pick up the phone or send an email or before you do anything, do a little bit of research as far as how you can help that person out. Be locked and loaded for something. It doesn't have to be you asking them how you can help. Just legit offer something up before the conversation even starts.
Yeah. When as salespeople, we always walk in and we want to build the credibility and connect emotionally to the people that we're talking to. But if we give and we're more interested than interesting, and we're opening up the network and giving them something that will, like you said, just benefit them, then then you're almost talking to a friend at that point, because their guard is down, and you can really kind of talk shop.
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
So John, go ahead.
I just want to say, but getting there, I think, is the hard part. So conceptually, we can talk about it, but for all the salespeople listening, when somebody does say to you, "Hey, I'm all set," or "Hey, I'm good with this," or "Hey, I'll follow up with you when I'm ready. I'm all set for now." I think it's about looking for the angle and the proactiveness to say, "Hey, well, how about I follow up?" But there's also these different angles of, let's set a follow-up call for maybe 2 weeks from now, or, don't wait for people to reach back out to you. You have to proactively kind of set the stage for them.
Right. And I think the key is to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's easy to say when think about the conversation. If it doesn't get uncomfortable, it's you start off, they say, "I'm all set." You're like, "All right, cool. No problem." Or they say, "Hey, call me back later." "Okay, cool. No problem." But you don't set a firm follow-up. Right. No one gets uncomfortable. The uncomfortable part is saying, "Well, John, okay, you want me to call you later. What day of the week works best for you? I have an opening November 15th at 2 p.m. Is that good? Here's what I need you to have prepared for me. I'll be prepared for you." Ask those questions, get a little bit uncomfortable, push them a little bit further, and you'll win. If you're just saying, "Yeah, I'll call you later," no one's winning because they don't care, and that's not firm. They don't think you're really going to follow up. If you do follow up, they're going to be like, bro, we didn't really talk about anything last time. I told you I'm busy. I'm all set.
Right. Even if it's a 5-minute follow-up, put it on the calendar. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned another word. You talked about proactivity and accessibility.
Yeah. Accessibility, I think, is huge. Yeah. I think a salesperson's whole platform is based on their accessibility and being there for your clients when they need you, to be a support, a guide, challenge them on questions to get them to think differently, and be there when they need you, when they have any questions whatsoever. Yeah. And so I think accessibility and selling accessibility is huge. I know in my business as a business coach, I sell my accessibility all the time to my clients.
Yeah, I'm blown away all the time when I see a business card that doesn't have a cell phone number, a website where there's a form. If you want to contact me, there's just a form. What? Yeah. Like literally those forms half the time don't even go anywhere. I know you have them on your website, so do I. Like literally, I don't think half the time I even see any of the results from those things. But when you have your phone number, your cell phone number, your fax number, your telex number, your physical address, 10 ways to contact you, you are accessible. Yeah. When you have a contact form or a main line for your office that is not manned after business hours, you are not accessible to your clients and customers.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's interesting too, because I put my cell phone on everything, always have. And our mutual friend, Mary Agnes, when I originally got in touch with her, I had watched an event that I bought, and she spoke at it, and she gave her cell phone, and she said I can't remember the exact years, 12, 13, 14 years, only 12, 13 people have called me on my cell phone, and I put it on everything.
Right.
And it's true. If you give it to the world, unfortunately, not too many people use it, but they should, but still give it out.
Not only that, unfortunately, not too many people use it, but also I think fortunately, because if you flip it a little bit, what's the reason people don't add their cell phone to their business card or their website or whatever? They don't want to be bothered. They say, you know what? I don't want a phone call coming in while I'm at the gym. I don't want a phone call coming in while I'm at my kid's piano recital or whatever. But at the end of the day, when you think about the fact that just because you're there for pretty much an emergency, because most people are going to do business during business hours anyway.
Correct.
But the fact that you're there to answer and pick up, oh my gosh, when you answer the phone after hours and they're like, thank you so much. Like people are so blown away just by that little bit, that little piece. It works.
I'm not saying this to obviously impress anyone, but I was recently interviewed on a podcast, and at the end they said, give your contact information. I gave my cell phone, and they said, you know what, we've done hundreds of interviews and you're the first person to actually give their cell phone. And wow. I found that I just still find it so surprising, because in today's world, if you can't answer the phone, there's nothing worse than when somebody's trying to at least reach out to me. They'll send me a link from their executive assistant will send me a link to their calendar for me to set up an appointment, and they're wanting to talk to me. And it's like, just call me on your cell and let's put something on the books. I'm all about technology, but sometimes it gets a little, when you feel like that person is almost trying to make themselves feel like they're almost too important.
Right.
And that doesn't fly today.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, there's some good stuff this week, John. I think at this point it's a good time to wrap this episode up, but I just want to remind people again, be accessible, be proactive, and it's not too late. You've got 19 million days left in November based on the way I did my calendar math, or just maybe 14 business days before 14 calendar days before people start to kick their feet up. You've got time. It's not too late. Make shit happen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you for listening.
Have a good one, everybody. Thanks Thanks everybody for listening. Now, no excuses. It's time to put everything you listen to into action. Stop bullshitting yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop listening and doing nothing with this information. Take this information, implement it into your day, kick some ass, grow your business, grow your sales, make more money, have more fun, have a better life, period, the end.
What he said.